Texas Republicans have released a proposed map to redraw the state's congressional districts. The move has the potential to add 5 Republican-leaning seats for the GOP to pick up in the 2026 midterms. 4 of the GOP's pickup opportunities reside in majority Hispanic districts. The new map stands to upend the midterms next year and give Republicans an opportunity to cling to their razor-thin House majority. The GOP's success depends on the party maintaining its gains among Hispanic voters, a demographic shift that helped President Trump reclaim the White House. The 30-day special session called by Republican Governor Greg Abbott is scheduled to end on August 19th, which gives state lawmakers a few weeks to finish the process. And joining us now is Dr. Robin Armstrong, the Commissioner for Precinct 4 in Galveston County. He also serves on the Finance Commission of the Texas Republican National Committee and joined us here on News 88.7 for our election specials last year. Welcome back. Welcome back, Dr. Robin Armstrong.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Wanted to make sure you could hear me. And if you have any questions for Dr. Armstrong, you can give us a call at 713-440-8870.
Dr. Armstrong, I'd like to jump in with, we're getting a lot of concern about these maps. And one thing that we were sharing yesterday, I think it was, is the view or the point of view that in recent voting, the support of Democratic candidates was about 42% statewide. Yet in D.C., representation for Democratic-leaning individuals only about 21%. Should the maps be looking at things like that to justify what the voting was showing and then reflect that? Or how do we come to what we've come to as a map?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that the focus of this map it certainly would be a politically gerrymandered map, and that is constitutional according to the Fifth Circuit decision that came down in August of 2024. And so I believe that what's happening is the Democrat Party has certainly racially gerrymandered and used the Voting Rights Act for many, many years to racially gerrymander districts. And so what happened was we had a court case in August of 2024 that actually said that coalition districts, for instance, were not constitutional any longer, not permissible. And so we didn't have to write those. And so I'll tell you, you look at states like California, where they have 52 congressmen and they only have 9 Republicans. That's about 17% of their representation is Republican in a state where they get, 40+% of the vote. And so I think that it's not I guess you could say a fair process, but I think it is a political process, a political process that's been known. And I think that what's happening, that doesn't even count into effect all of the issues you get with the census and the population, and some states overcounting, some states undercounting, where they get more representation. And so I think that this is a situation now that allows Republican states to do political gerrymandering, which is permissible, and it disallows racial gerrymandering, which is what has happened in the state of Texas for the last few decades.
So, Dr. Armstrong, this is normally done at a different time in the decade. Why is this suddenly being done now?
Well, it's been done now because of the recent federal Fifth Circuit Court decision in August of 2024 that actually disallowed the drawing of coalition districts. And so that court case that was won in Galveston County, ironically enough, the Biden Justice Department actually sued Galveston County because there was a district that was being there was a district that was being carved out in Galveston County, a precinct rather, on Commissioner's Court. And so they sued Galveston County. They won at the federal district court level, but they lost at the federal Fifth Circuit level. And that's when coalition districts were found to be not permissible any longer, according to the Voting Rights Act, according to the federal Fifth Circuit. And I think that is the impetus that allows or the legislature to go in and do redistricting at this time. There are 5 coalition districts in Texas that have been racially gerrymandered. Those are congressional districts. There are also state house seats, state house districts that have been gerrymandered, and state senate seats. And there's all the state commissioners' precincts. In fact, Tarrant County up in North Texas actually just redistricted their county precincts as well. And so because they under the same reasoning and the same decision that was made by the Fifth Circuit.
I want to go back into the maps in just a little bit, and the current map that we're using that has had court challenges against it. But on a bigger issue, we hear a lot from the left about how this is unfair for voters in the state, this new map that's been presented. I'm curious, from the right, where is the benefit, and what are you folks seeing that says this is good for the voters in the state of Texas? Where is the benefits in this new map as you see them?
Well, I'll tell you, what I see is that, you know, what we have seen in the state of Texas is when in our cities, for instance, you look at our cities and they're dominated by Democrat politicians, and I don't believe that those communities are well served. Certainly they chose them, but I still don't think they're well served by them. And so I think it would be helpful to have maps I think it would benefit the public to have a different perspective and a different alternative than just the same Democrat politicians that they have now. Having said that, that's my opinion, and certainly my opinion can be wrong. But I think at the end of the day, it's a constitutional issue. The Constitution has changed. I think if this case goes to the Supreme Court, they will uphold that decision. It'll be nationwide. Right now in the federal Fifth Circuit, they have said, political gerrymandering is okay, racial gerrymandering is not, and I think that's the basis for this decision. So honestly, I think it is helpful to the voters, but like I say, that's my opinion. You're going to have a lot of folks to disagree with that, but at the end of the day, it's not even necessarily what's fair. It's a gerrymandered district, politically gerrymandered, and I think racial gerrymandering does not serve anyone. And I think it just causes division, makes divisions worse. And so our goal is to show that listen, you can have an African American that represents an Anglo community. You can have Anglo American that represents an African American community. And those folks should be very active in those offices, making sure that they are hearing their concerns and serving them. I believe that this will ultimately promote more unity, less racial division, and that's what we want as a nation. I don't think you necessarily have to have the same race of a person representing, the same racial group. I think that's probably long-term unhealthy.
Okay, what were we going to say, Celeste?
I just had really one quick question, which is, Dr. Armstrong, would you have that same feeling of gerrymandering is okay and it's a part of our government if it were the opposite party doing the changing of the lines? Do you have that same sentiment when the Democratic Party does it?
Well, I'll tell you, I haven't heard anyone complain about California where that's clearly done. With the gerrymandered lines, no one's ever said a thing about that at all. I didn't even realize that they only had 9 Republicans out of 52 congressmen. That is a politically gerrymandered state. It's done in every left state in the country, and Texas generally has not done that at all. And like I say, it's not even to mention that they have they have so many more congressmen, because they've counted a lot of folks who are in the country illegally as well, and Texas has not done that. And so I think, from a Democrat perspective, I think that they have certainly benefited from the racial politics, from the racial gerrymandering, and from counting people that states like Texas do not count.
I do believe California does have a commission since 2011 that is a bipartisan commission that does their redistricting maps for them.
Well, and there is an elephant in the room, sir, that at least the story is that the president is strong-arming the governor to get these districts redrawn in order to secure a Republican majority in the House at midterms. Now, is that... And I understand it's your opinion, but do you agree with that that's what's happening, or do you not have any way of knowing?
Well, I mean, I think that I'll tell you, so I can't speak for President Trump and the governor, but I certainly can say that if I were president of the United States, I probably would be strong arming, Governor X to get more seats for the midterm as well. I
Yeah.
mean, that is a political process. And so that's, frankly, what I would do. I think maybe if President Trump is not doing that, I would say he's probably not, not fighting politically like he should. I believe that Democrats have been fighting these political battles for many, many years. And certainly California has they have a commission, but we know that nothing is bipartisan anymore. That's unfortunate. I hate that, but it's just not the case. And we know that those Republicans on that commission are supporting the lines. That's why you have 43 Democrats and only 9 Republicans in California.
We're
And so it's not
talking.
because there's that many Democrats. I think it's because there's those lines are gerrymandered, just like um, most left states are.
We're talking with Dr. Armstrong, who's Commissioner of Precinct 4 in Galveston County, also serves on the Finance Commission for the Texas Republican National Committee. Our phone lines are open for your calls about the redistricting map at 713-440-8870. A couple things that you bring up, and then we've got a call I want to grab. But I'm curious, when you talk about California, and they're in the news with all of this going on because the governor there is saying, well, if Texas does this here, then California is going to redo theirs. And then New York says they may redo theirs. This could start a kind of a ripple effect that could basically, as you've been talking about, move it from being a just representation to a purely political game that we play. And doing it outside of the years of the census, like it is traditionally done, it could happen anytime, all the time. Where are we headed with this, do you fear?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that California really does not have any legal justification. Well, you could actually redistrict any time. You've always been able to redistrict at any time. And so they certainly can do it. They don't have any legal justification. Texas actually does. I mean, we just had a federal Fifth Circuit decision that came out, like I say, in August of 2024, that allows us to do this because there's been a change in the law. And so that allows us to do it. And then also, I'll tell you, I think, California, I think these states have been doing this for a very long time. And I don't know that I don't know that it's even possible for them to get any more Democrat seats. I
Yeah.
mean, it's 43-9 already. I don't know that it's possible. They might have to, I don't know what they'd have to do to
They
do
seem
that,
to
but
think they
I know
can.
that they certainly they have some constitutional requirements as well.
Yeah.
So I think they need like a constitutional amendment to change that situation for them. And so
713, let me jump in, 713-440-8870. Let's try and grab some calls because they're backing up for us. Let's first go to Kevin from the north side. Kevin, what's on your mind?
Hello, thank you for taking my call. I just had, I guess, a question. When you look at, I guess, can someone answer the question of why was the pre-clearance needed for the state of Texas anyway? From my understanding, it was because of the way that Texas has always drawn their maps racially, so that they had to come out with a section in the Voting Rights Act to help with the pre-clearance because of those racist southern states that were gerrymandering black and brown votes out from the beginning. That's the history of it, from my understanding. So when I hear a person say that the representation in my district, in District 18, was not doing what we needed them to do, that's our responsibility as a voter to make that decision, not someone to tell me that, no, I don't like the way they're governing you, and so I'm going to make sure that I move these maps to give you a Republican that can govern you or help you in this matter. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. If I voted for this person and I'm happy with this person, why are you trying to tell me who's best for me?
Kevin, thank you for your comment. Yeah, hold on, because let's get Dr. Armstrong's reaction.
Yeah, well, he's absolutely right. I mean, I agree with him wholeheartedly. He does have the right to choose, and so I'm not disagreeing with that. And I told him that I mentioned that was just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So my opinion isn't worth much. So that's all that was. But what I would say is that I see pre-clearance is no more. I mean, that is not the case anymore. So Texas does not have to go through pre-clearance any longer. And certainly there was a justification for going through pre-clearance with the Justice Department because, there is a history of racism and that history is there. And certainly, Lord, the last thing I want to do is disenfranchise African American or Hispanic voters. I don't think that this does this. I think that this is a political gerrymandering operation, and I think that that's perfectly constitutional. And so I certainly want I want everybody to have good representation. The gentleman's absolutely correct. He should be able to choose. I'm not saying I want to choose who his representatives are, but all I'm saying is that, for instance, the 18th congressional district. I don't know if you've looked at that on the current map. It's shaped like a C. It's not a contiguous map. It has these fingers pointing out of it. It's the strangest drawn map probably in the state of Texas. It looks crazy. And I think these maps are more contiguous. The districts are at least more square than they ever have been. And CD18 is absolutely a racially gerrymandered district because of the way it's shaped. It's a crazy shape.
Well,
And if you look at it on the current map,
for point of
so I
reference
think
on
that's
that,
something that needs to be corrected as well.
for point of reference on that, though, these maps were drawn by the Republicans because they were in power when that map was drawn, and they have been in court saying that they were not racially gerrymandered, and they have been saying that these are just and fair maps. And yet now they're currently in court saying that these are just and fair maps while at the same time introducing a brand new map, if I understand the process correctly. Let's grab another call, 713-440-8870. It's David from Garden Oaks. David, what's on your mind?
Sorry. I'm just questioning the governor's priorities in redistricting, considering he still has not either appointed or called for an election for my congressman, because I still don't have a congressman.
Are you in District 18?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. David.
So upon the death of Sylvester Turner.
Right.
Yeah. David, thank you for your comments. Dr. Anderson, anything?
Well, no, I mean, I can't comment on that at all. I just, I don't know what to say. That's the governor's prerogative to call the special, and I don't have influence there.
Okay, moving on to Chris from Cyprus. Chris, what's on your mind?
He just said exactly the point I was going to make. If it's about representation, Sylvester Turner's seat would have been filled a long time ago. Also, them just changing up the lines midstream instead of doing it every 10 years to just kind of like suit their needs. But, someone in Washington dictating policy here in Texas, I just want to focus on Texas here. And I think maybe, having the representatives come and, face-to-face speak with their constituents and actually have a couple of town hall meetings, some of this can be, taken under consideration. But when you have one party that just won't even have town hall meetings and you're going to represent me, where do I get my say-so? But, thank you all for having this discussion, and I'll continue to listen.
Thank you very much. Dr. Armstrong, anything on that, Ray, on that comment?
I'll tell you, and if a Republican, is elected in one of these districts that were previously held by a Democrat, I think it is important for the people of that district to demand that their congressman represents them, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. I think it's important that they show up at their district offices. I think it's every congressman has a district office and a district director. It's important for them to show up there and to make sure and that they demand that they're represented, because look, these congressmen are servants of the people, and that's what they're there for. And they're supposed to serve all of their constituents. And so I would just encourage that gentleman just to show up and demand that they represent them and they represent their values. You might be surprised at what you see if you do that.
I'm curious really quickly, too, your understanding of who drew these maps and how they came to be, or this map, and how it came to be the map that's being pushed right now.
Well, I mean, I don't have any sort of inside base. Certainly I don't know who drew this map. I mean, I certainly don't know who drew it. I certainly have some ideas, but I I don't know exactly who drew it, and
But you
so
trust
I'm
them.
not privy to that.
You trust
Do what?
that you trust. You don't know who drew them, but I guess you trust that they drew it correctly.
Well, I look at the map. I mean, I've seen the map like everyone has, and so if it was they floated a map early on in this process. I thought that was a horrible map, and so we were ready to certainly come guns a blazing if that first map that was presented was the map. This one actually looks a lot better.
We have a whole bunch of
So
calls
so
still
so
on.
we would not just accept it. Certainly, we look at the map and determine if it's something that looks reasonable.
We have a whole bunch of calls still online, and time is ticking away, so we'll try and get through a few more of these quickly. Teresa from Northwest Houston, what's on your mind?
Yes, there have been several callers that I've heard since I called in saying pretty much what I was thinking. I noticed from the expert there that the term racial gerrymandering was being thrown around with the assumption that the listening audience really didn't know the history of it or understand what it was. And racial gerrymandering, of course, historically was done to divide up areas where racial minorities had strength and deny them of any representation in Congress. And racial gerrymandering has not been done to actually, and except by the Democrats, to actually extend representation to minorities. So, now we know that. I'm also from District 18, and Governor Abbott's unilateral decision has been to deny me any representation since, February, March? So we've been most of the year without representation, and that doesn't seem to bother him. We are a Democratic district. And when it comes to that strange C-shaped district that concerns your expert there, if you look at districts all over the state, one in Austin, Austin is divided up into 6 congressional districts. And there's a Democrat elected in only one of them. And they do that by taking a little piece of Austin and extending it as far eastward as Cypress. So, to pick that one district where Democrats actually get elected from a strangely shaped district is a little bit hypocritical.
Teresa, thank you for your comments. 713-440-8870. Let's grab Renee from Galveston. Renee, what's on your mind?
Hi. I wanted to hear the commissioner answer the question that Celeste asked if it was his opinion, because he did not answer the question, he just expounded. I want to know if he would agree that this would be the same if it were in reverse. I live in Galveston County, and when I go to the polls to vote, there aren't any options other than Republicans, and I don't feel like those politicians are serving me well.
Renee, we are tight on time, so I'm going to end it there. And Dr. Armstrong, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to answer.
If I were in the Democrats' shoes right now, I'd be doing exactly what they're doing, probably. I'd be upset about it. I'd be angry about it. I would be, doing the same thing. So to answer her question directly, I understand that feeling. I get that feeling. And I would have her, she can come to my office, and I certainly will talk to her about the issues that I'm a county commissioner in Galveston County. I certainly will hear her opinions and hear her thoughts if she feels like she's not represented. Commissioner Giusti is down in Galveston. He represents Galveston Island. I'm sure he would love to talk to you as well. So we want to represent her for sure.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for being here today.
Dr. Robin Armstrong is the commissioner for Precinct 4 in Galveston County. Again, Dr. Armstrong, thank you so much for joining us on Hello Houston.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you all.